Hi everybody, and welcome back to our AP Lazer workshop. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing some photo engraving, and we're actually going to be putting it on a piece of wood here. This piece of wood that I have here is a piece of basswood that you can pretty much pick up at any kind of hobby shop. So Michael's, Hobby Lobby, you can even find this on Amazon if you're looking for it. This is great material to be working with as far as photo engraving. It's a little bit of a softer wood and engraves just beautifully. The other thing we're going to be talking about today, and I'm going to show you, is maybe a little bit of a hidden gem for some of you. On everybody's laptops, if you're working with the laptop that came with your AP Lazer machine, there's an actual file folder called Lazer Scenes. And what Lazer Scenes is a bunch of different types of elements, photographic elements, that you can use for a variety of different kind of products. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you where to locate these files and these images at. If you happen not to have that, please feel free to reach out to our tech support team at 844-364-8211, and we'll be more than happy to send this file over to you. You are also able to buy other elements beyond these ones off of our AP Lazer web store too. So please feel free to go there after this session and check out to see the different kinds of things that you can purchase there. We're going to go ahead and jump over to the laptop now. So, like I said, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about this file folder here called Lazer Scenes. This should be either directly on your desktop or is located in your AP Lazer file folder on your desktop. If you open this file folder up, you'll see that we have a couple other subfolders in here. We have CPT, JPEG, and then PSD. With these different formats, these are just different ways you can bring this image in. What we're going to be working with is this CPT file, which is a Corel Photo-Paint. And if you do buy any elements off of our web store, this is typically how they're going to come. I'm going to go ahead and open up this file folder here, and you can see our other subfolders here that are broken down between miscellaneous images, nature images, and religious images. I'm going to go ahead and open up this one here, which is our religious one, just to kind of give you an overview here. And we're going to make our view a little bit larger here. So basically what these are some templates that you can use, especially if you're a monument shop, that you can set up little demo monuments. These files are pretty much edited, ready to go. You just need to size them up correctly and send them over through Engrave. So you can see how we have certain ones set up with an actual monument here and then just a normal CPT. I'm going to backtrack here and we're going to go into nature here. And what we're actually going to be using is this one right here. So you can see how we have it set up right now for a SERP top monument, and then we have just the element alone. So this element here is the one that I'm actually going to bring into my system. So I'm going to minimize this real quickly, and we're going to open up our Corel Photo-Paint. I'm going to start just like any other time with a new document here. And we're going to go ahead and type out our name, wood engraving. We want our color mode, as always, to be 24-bit RGB. And background color. Now, this is going to be a little bit different than what we set up before in our previous videos on dealing with slate or granite, where we use a black background color. This one here we actually want to be a white background. We're going to come in here and we're going to put in our size of our material. I'm going to take a quick measurement here. Looks like we're 11, about roughly 11 by 6. And just like with all of our other photo engravings, we want our resolution, or a DPI, to be 150. And I want to go ahead and hit OK. Now, when you're dealing with a white background, sometimes it's hard to see that background edge. So if we see our layer here on the right-hand side under our objects docker, we can always turn off our view of that, so we kind of get this checkered view. And this kind of helps out a little bit more on being able to see our image and everything like that. Turn that back on, and we're going to go ahead and import our image. right here. Drop in our corner. And this is a nice high resolution photo, and again was originally designed for a monument, so it is quite large. So if we zoom out, we can kind of see our boxes on our edges. I'm going to go ahead and grab this and bring this back down for us. There we go. And over on the right hand side, you can see how I brought in my image and I automatically have two different layers here. This first layer is for my black background, because again, it was set up originally for a granite piece. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, which is going to leave me with just my actual image here. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger, kind of size out a little bit here, and try to fill up our screen as much as we can. Now again, these images here have already been edited and are pretty much ready to go. You can come in here and edit this further if you need to or if you wish to try to bring out more detail. Just like, again, the elements that you're going to get off of our web store, you shouldn't really need to do a whole lot to this. So I'm basically bringing it in. I'm going to scale it to size. I'm going to go ahead and export this out now. And our version type is going to be a BMP or a Windows bitmap. I'm going to place it right on my desktop for the time being. And we're always going to save our image as flattened. And so what I can do now is go ahead and minimize this and bring it right into our Photograve. With Photograve, if you remember, we always work from left to right across this toolbar. So I'm going to go ahead and start by opening up my image. I'm going to select my material. And if we scroll down, you'll notice that, especially with wood, we have a lot of different types of wood settings here. You always want to make sure, especially with wood engravings, that you are picking the right material, because a lot of these will give you different simulations and will engrave slightly different. Obviously, there's a difference between a cherry with a light vertical grain compared to, say, a hard maple. As I said before, this type of material, this type of wood here is going to be basswood, so I'm going to go ahead and select that and hit OK. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and change my machine DPI here to match my image DPI, which was the 150 that we set up in the beginning of our Photo-Paint. Change that and go ahead and hit Enter. So here on the right side, we can see our simulate on how it should kind of look as our engraving comes out. And then we have our engraving image on the left. I can again switch this by going up to my top bar here, the OG, E, and S. So O is our original, G is our grayscale if it's not already in grayscale, E is our engravable, and S is our simulate. We've talked before about Photograve and how it's a very intuitive program. So we really don't need to do a whole lot of editing in here. I'm going to trust Photograve and I'm going to let it do its thing, and you can see compared to some of our other settings as far as like the slate, how some of these have changed. Some of our settings here for like our enhanced edges, our apply screen, and our threshold. Again, Photograve is a very intuitive program and takes a lot of consideration into the fact of what type of material you're doing, your DPI, and everything like that. So I'm not going to make any kind of adjustments in here. I'm going to go ahead and click on my final process just to stamp these settings in place and then save my image. I want it to be an engraved image. Okay, and again, we're going to place this right on my desktop. So from here, what I can do is open up my RDWorks program here. And we're going to go ahead and import in our engravable image. Remember to look for the one with the ENGR next to the name, letting you know that that's our engravable image. I'm going to go ahead and set my origin, which currently is marked with this green box here, on left center. So to change my origin, I'm going to come up to Config and System Settings and just select my start point here. Because I'm doing something square, I'm going to go ahead and select my bottom left corner and then just exit out of here. I'm then going to go ahead and go over to my mode and double click on my laser scan. And this is where I'm going to adjust my speed and my power and my interval. Now, when we're dealing with engraving on wood, the speed and power can vary depending on the type of look that you're going for. I would always recommend kind of testing out a little bit if you have a scrap piece to kind of dial things in. And again, this is more of a user preference. Some people want a dark, deep burn, at which point you'd probably go with a little bit more power. Other people are going to want kind of just maybe a light engraving, at which point you probably go with a little bit lower power. I'm going to go ahead and adjust my speed to a 25 speed. And I know my laser, again, burns a little bit hotter, so I'm going to take my power all the way down to 21. And then my interval, which is based off of my DPI, so we set that for 150. My interval should be the 0.0067, or again, we can always switch that over to just DPI, which comes out to 150. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK here and send it on over to our machine. Okay, now let's go over to the machine and let's get our material loaded up here. Now, one thing you want to be aware of is when you're dealing with basswood, this is a natural cut piece of wood here. And so a lot of times you can get a little bit of a misshape here. For instance, this side here is just a little bit shorter than this side here. So when you're lining it up, it can be just a tad bit tricky. Typically what I like to do is this bottom dark part here is where I try to line my image up at, just to kind of make sure that I'm nice and straight. There are normally two sides to this too. So we've got the front or the back side, whichever you like to consider, typically has this live bark kind of going down a little bit more at an angle. Again, it's kind of a user preference on which way you would like to set this material up. My preference, I like the nice flat side where I don't have so much of that rough edge, but if you are looking for that, you can definitely flip this around. So for our test purposes, I'm just going to have a little bit smoother side with a little bit less bark here. I'm going to go ahead and put my material in the machine here and get our laser head over in position and take our first focus reading. So I'm going to start first by checking my focus here in the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my other corners here and just double checking there, making sure that I don't need to adjust any of my leveling legs. And we can see here that we're a little bit high on this back corner. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use my back right-hand corner adjustment leg to bring this down just a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and check, and now we've got a good focus there. Because I did make an adjustment on this leg here, I am just going to want to go back through and re-verify that I didn't throw off any of my other angles here. Good there. And we look good there. So our next step is going to be to make sure our material is in there as straight as we can get it. So I'm going to bring it down onto the bottom here. A little bit of an adjustment. We look good there. Move it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and hit my origin button and then go ahead and frame out. And it looks like we can come over a little bit, because again, this wasn't quite cut completely square. So I'm going to shift it off just slightly off my material. And that looks a little bit better there. So we're going to go ahead and close our lid here. And I'm going to go ahead and hit start. And I do apologize because this is wood, it's going to give off a lot of smoke. I do need to turn on my filter, so it may be a little bit loud. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that on first and then go ahead and hit start. Okay, we're all finished now, so let's go ahead and see what we have here. And here we go here. Our nice little deer wooded scene. Now, if you notice, I didn't mask this off at all. When you're masking it off wood and you're engraving a photo on it, it can be a little bit of a pain to try to get a lot of that tape back off there, off what's actually left over. So what I would probably recommend is get a little bit of 220 grit sandpaper here and just give this a light sanding. Again, you're not really looking to dig too far deep into this. You just kind of want to get rid of some of the overburn on it. Something else to keep in mind as well is if you decide to clear coat this with any kind of lacquer or sealer or anything like that, that will make your image a little bit darker as well. So we'll go ahead and go back over to our computer here and see if we have any questions. Erica is asking if this will be recorded and available to view later on. Yes, it will. After all these sessions, we're trying to post this currently on our YouTube channel. So if you're not a subscriber yet, please make sure to go over there and subscribe. You can view our other videos that we've done over the last couple weeks. Hopefully you guys are having as much fun viewing these videos as I am making them. I do really appreciate everybody's support and showing up. Hopefully you find this informative. And again, if you have any questions over any of the things that we discuss in these videos, please feel free to give our tech support line a call. Again, night or day, there's somebody always available, and that number is 844-364-8211. Is there any other way to take off the overburn is a question that I'm getting asked. Yes, actually I had a customer turn me onto this a couple years ago, and actually with wood, if you use a little bit of peroxide, dab it on there with a cotton ball or anything like that, that will actually help take the overburn off without distorting or discoloring your wood. It works very well for that sappy kind of wood too. So maybe like a maple or even like a cedar a little bit. Let it dry just a little bit after you do the engraving, and then try to use the peroxide on there. Okay, well, if we don't have any more questions, Again, thank you guys for all joining us today. Happy Friday. I hope you have a great weekend. And please feel free to get a hold of us anytime with any kind of suggestions, videos you would like to see made, or examples you'd like to be shown. Guys, have a great weekend. Great day. Bye.